So I'm pretty sure that Miraculous Ladybug season 5 is already over, and I've just realized I haven't even talked about a single episode. So that all changes today. In this video, I'll be going over the first 11 episodes of a Miraculous Ladybug season 5. I'll go over other episodes in the future, but for now, just up to episode 11. If you want to skip to me talking about a certain episode, you can do that by using the chapters feature on YouTube. So with all that being said, let's get into this.
You can save your wife, Gabriel.
This episode seems to take place right after the events of the season 4 finale, when Gabriel takes all the Miraculouses and becomes Monarch. After he starts to finally use his brain, he uses the Rabbit Miraculous to travel back in time to defeat Ladybug and Cat Noir. Bunnix then arrives and tries to help Ladybug and Cat Noir get the Rabbit Miraculous back, only for her to get paralyzed by Monarch's venom. Cat Noir then takes Bunnix's Miraculous to become Rabbit Noir. After some time shenanigans, Monarch uses the Dog Miraculous on the Rabbit Miraculous so he could have a connection to it at all the time. He then goes to Natalie and she tells him that he could go back in time to save his wife with a hard drive. While this is happening, Ladybug and Cat Noir go to Master Fu from the past and ask him for the Dog Miraculous. Ladybug then gives the Dog Miraculous to Alex and Ladybug sets up a trap to fool Monarch. This trap works, causing Monarch to not give the hard drive to his past self and to also lose the Rabbit Miraculous at the same time. Alex then becomes the permanent holder of the Rabbit Miraculous and can no longer go back to the present time. They give the Dog Miraculous back to Fu, and that's how the episode ends. All right, Evolution wasn't that great of an episode. There are a ton of problems, which I will get into, but let me talk about the positive stuff first. For one, I love the fact that Ladybug and Cat Noir are finally able to trust each other. After the constant banter they had in season 4, it was really refreshing seeing them getting along. I think Rabbit Noir is a pretty cool design. I don't really like the weird glowing blue thing under his eyes, but other than that, it's pretty cool. Also, Natalie putting Gabriel down at the end of the episode was so cool. I'm glad that Natalie can still do some cool things even when she's sick. Now it's time for complaints. Why don't Ladybug and Cat Noir take all the Miraculouses? They had so many opportunities to take all the Miraculouses from him, but they didn't. Even when he was passed out on the floor, they still didn't do anything. Instead, they just started poking him. I am disappointed in you guys. Gabriel isn't any better either. Why didn't he just drop the hard drive in the burrow? It's not like Ladybug and Cat Noir could have beaten you in the past. If you put the hard drive in the burrow, there wouldn't be a monarch for them to defeat. You could have lived a happy life with your wife and Adrian. These three were so dumb in this episode. It annoys me so much. This episode gets a 2.5 out of 10. On to the next one. This episode takes place right after Evolution, and Ladybug tells Cat Noir how she lost the Miraculous in the first place. Master Suhan then arrives and tells Ladybug that she has failed as a guardian, but then it's revealed that Suhan was too distracted by the modern world and he should have been helping them, and tells Ladybug and Cat Noir that he'll gather all the guardians. Ladybug and Cat Noir then travel to London to find Felix. However, Amelie tells them that Felix isn't here. Marinette then tells Alia that she can no longer fall in love with anyone, but conveniently at the same time, Adrian starts to fall in love with Marinette. After weeks of Monarch not attacking Paris, all the civilians, including Marinette and Adrian, start to calm down. However, Akari goes and arrives and starts destroying Paris. Ladybug and Cat Noir try to defeat her, but they're a little rusty. It's then revealed that Akari Gozen has the power of multiplication. After Ladybug and Cat Noir defeat Akari Gozen, it's revealed that she doesn't have the miraculous of the mouse on her. It is then revealed that Miss Sarugi is working with Gabriel to create these rings called alliances that use Adrian and Lila's image. At the end of the episode, we find out that Amelie lied to Ladybug and Cat Noir and that Felix is with her and he still has the Peacock Miraculous. Multiplication is much better than evolution. I like how we get to see everyone in Paris slowly calming down since Monarch hasn't akumatized anyone. It really shows the passage of time. The Akarzi Goes and fight team was also pretty fun since Ladybug and Cat Noir were a bit rusty. I also like how now since Gabriel has all the Miraculouses, we get to see akumatized villains use them. It really helps raise the stakes. However, I do dislike how fast Adrian falls for Marinette. I feel like it was a bit too early. Also, Alia is really annoying. Marinette tells her she can't fall in love with anyone, but Alia reminds her of the last time she tried to do that, even though Alia herself was part of the reason, thanks to her influencing Marinette. I also feel like Ladybug and Cat Noir should have been trying to learn more about Felix and his relations while Monarch wasn't attacking. Not only does it help them find Felix, it could have also helped them find Monarch. This episode gets a 5 out of 10. On to the next one.
If Ladybug gave me right.
Don't make any sudden moves.
This episode takes place. I'm actually not sure when it takes place. It happens during the episode multiplication. I think it's happening at the same time. Anyways, Gabriel is trying to use the Rooster Miraculous to beat Ladybug and Cat Noir, but the Rooster Miraculous can't grant powers another Kwami has, can't interfere with another Kwami's magic, and it can't grant wishes. So instead, Gabriel asks the Kwamis where Ladybug lives. They lead him to Marinette's house, but luckily Marinette set up a little scavenger hunt to trick Gabriel, so she can get him trapped. However, instead of Ladybug and Cat Noir taking the Miraculouses, Cat Noir accidentally cataclysm Monarch's arm, allowing him to escape. Wow, I bet you that wouldn't happen if you took the Miraculouses. Marinette then explains to Alia the whole plan, and the episode ends with Gabriel destroying the Miraculouses and turning them into rings. Wow, that episode made me really mad. Again, just like Evolution, why didn't they take them? He was so vulnerable, but no, Ladybug just had to start monologuing. It's literally so frustrating. Even when Monarch was escaping, you could have followed him through the portal, but they just stood there. Also, why does Marinette explain everything to Alia? That could have just happened off screen. We don't need Marinette to explain everything when we already saw everything. I mean, I did like Marinette's plan. It shows how she was prepared for every possible situation when she was Guardian. Other than that, and a few other small things, this episode is pretty bad. 3.5 out of 10. On to the next one.
Are you saying this is all fake?
This episode starts with Marinette jogging until she comes across an old friend of hers, So Clean, cosplaying as Ladybug, trying to help Mr. Damocles. Marinette tries to confront So Clean later that day, but this scientist somehow fuses dinosaurs and pigeons to create this weird. What is going on? She's not even akumatized. They're just flying dinosaurs everywhere. However, Marinette was still wearing So Clean's alliance ring while she was Ladybug, so now Gabriel thinks So Clean is Ladybug. Gabriel then akumatizes Mr. Damocles and gives him the power of Jubilation with the alliance rings. Monarch then figures out that So Clean isn't Ladybug. The real Ladybug and Cat Noir then come to save So Clean and defeat the Darker Owl. That is such a bad name. However, Ladybug and Cat Noir are hit with gift and are shown their deepest desire, which is this weird ass fever dream. What is going on? They then realize it's a dream, break out, and defeat the Darker Owl. I'm never saying that again. The episode then ends with Ladybug and Cat Noir convincing themselves that whatever that fever dream was wasn't their deepest desire and that it was just a trick. I have absolutely no idea what was going on in this episode. The whole dream sequence was supposed to be sad, but all I could do was laugh during that scene. It was hilarious how hard they tried to make the scene feel sad. Other than that, not really any problems with this episode. I will never understand what this scientist lady is all about, but for now, I'll just ignore it. I liked how Marinette cares about So Clean. It's nice to see Marinette care about others and their safety. Although I do wish we were introduced to So Clean earlier. She doesn't really do anything in this episode. This episode gets a 5 out of 10. On to the next one.
Yes! Come on, come on!
In this episode, Adrian goes to confront his father about the alliance rings, but it turns out that Gabriel is being a good father for once. Holy crap, what is going on? He's even cooking him breakfast. What is this nightmare? Gabriel tells Adrian that his face on the alliance ring isn't him and that it's just an image. He also tells Adrian that he'll be at the parent-teacher conference later that day. He even allows Adrian to eat at the cafeteria at his school. While there, Needham talks to him, Alia, and Marinette about a resistance and how they're going to try and help Ladybug and Cat Noir defeat Monarch. While talking about this resistance, he also mentions how he and Alia used to be Rena Rouge and Carapace in front of Marinette and Adrian. Nino, stop dropping this information like it's no big deal. Nino's plan is to figure out how Monarch is giving his supervillain the miraculous powers without giving them the miraculouses. So he plans to get one of the adults akumatized and to also film this akumatization. Conveniently, their target is Gabriel. However, Lila was eavesdropping on them the whole time and warns Gabriel about this. A few moments later, and now Gabriel doesn't want Adrian going to this school anymore. Are you proud of yourself, Nino? Gabriel then makes an illusion of himself getting akumatized. While this is happening, Adrian films all of this, and Nino figures out that Monarch is giving his akumatized victims these powers with a magic lightning bolt. Seriously? After some shenanigans, fake Gabriel breaks free from the Akuma, Nino shows Ladybug the magic lightning bolt, Adrian gets to go back to school again, and Gabriel turns into tartar sauce. The episode ends with it being revealed that basically everyone in the class has joined the resistance, including Lila. Nino is a really bad person in this episode. Nino was so cool back in seasons 1 and 3, but as soon as episode 17 of season 4 happened, his whole character went down the drain. His best friend was forbidden from going to school again, and he wasn't upset. He just kept on filming. All of his efforts were for nothing as well, considering a magic lightning bolt isn't what gives the villains the powers. So that was a waste of time. Also, Gabriel's acting sucks. You're telling me anyone would believe this? Also, him letting Adrian call him dad and him cooking breakfast for Adrian as well was so weird. This is not the same Gabriel. I don't really have anything else to say about this episode, other than the fact that Nino is not a good friend. This episode gets a 3 out of 10.
You kissed me.
This episode starts with Adrian just falling in love with Marinette. Kagami tells him to ask her out, but he is still unsure about his feelings. He calls her and asks her if they could talk at the wax museum together later that day because his feelings have changed. Adrian then tells Kagami that he thinks his feelings started to change at the wax museum because this better be a joke. Marinette is nervous, so Luca comes with her. A few misunderstandings later, and Luca and Kagami trap Marinette and Adrian in the same room. The owner of the wax museum then gets akumatized because the mayor won't allow this new section of the museum to be released to the public because Chloe doesn't want it. She turns into Manipula, and with her powers, she brings all the wax figures of superheroes to life. While Ladybug and Cat Noir deal with these wax figures, Ladybug starts to compliment Cat Noir. What the heck is happening? They defeat Manipula, and the mayor allows the superhero section of the Wax Museum to be released to the public. The episode ends with Adrian realizing he's in love with Marinette, and Marinette realizing she has growing feelings for Cat Noir. This episode is fine, nothing is wrong with it. There is a part of me that's happy Adrian is finally seeing Marinette as more than just a friend, since I've been watching this show since 2015. But I feel like Ladybug falling for Cat Noir was a bit sudden. I know they explained it in the episode, but it still feels sudden. If there is a thing I'm upset about, it's how Adrian fell in love with Marinette. I thought the reason you fell in love with her was because she helped you stand up to your father, not because of that scene. There are so many other scenes that would have worked so much better, but you're telling me you fell in love with Marinette during this scene? That has to be a joke. Now that the love square has flipped, I wonder what will happen next. This episode gets a 6 out of 10. On to the next one. This episode starts with Marinette swooning over Cat Noir and Adrian doing the same thing, but with Marinette. Adrian goes downstairs for breakfast with Natalie following soon after to check on Adrian. After mom and dad, I mean Gabriel and Natalie, have an argument in front of Adrian, he heads upstairs to pack up for school. While he's gone, Natalie pins Gabriel to the counter and tells him that she is protecting Adrian from him, and that all Adrian needs is a good father. That was really cool, Natalie, but you need to chill. Gabriel then reveals to Natalie that he doesn't have enough time left and shows her his arm, which is really being affected by Cat Noir's cataclysm. Gabriel tells her that if they don't get both of the Miraculouses, Adrian will be left alone. Natalie then goes to her room and watches some videos of Adrian's mom, Emily. In those videos, Emily tells Natalie that Gabriel is too stubborn and that Adrian needs Natalie and Gabriel. While this is happening, Adrian goes to Natalie's room to ask about love advice. Once he notices that Natalie seems upset and sick, he asks her if what happened to his mom would happen to her, which she responds with no. Natalie then goes to Gabriel and tells him to akumatize her to retrieve Ladybug and Cat Noir's Miraculouses, which he does. At school, Adrian asks Marinette what to do when someone is sick, and Marinette tells him that being there for that person is already enough. Plag asks Tiki what to do since both of their holders are falling in love with each other, but Tiki reassures Plag that nothing will happen because Marinette never gets anywhere when it comes to love. Dang, Tiki, that's harsh. Natalie gets akumatized into Safari and makes an illusion of Time Tiger. Ladybug and Cat Noir get distracted by this illusion, however, and because of Ladybug simping over Cat Noir, she gets paralyzed by venom from Safari's crossbow. The arrows are only able to track Ladybug and Cat Noir, so after a bit of thinking, they switch Miraculouses and become Mr. Bug and Lady Noir again. Once they finally defeat Safari, Adrian gets upset because he thinks Monica akumatized Natalie. He thinks it was his fault, but Natalie reassures him. The episode ends with Natalie asking Adrian about the girl he likes. I actually think this episode is quite good. I love it when we focus more on the Adrian side of things because, frankly, everything that goes on in his house is far more interesting compared to Marinette's entire character. Speaking of Marinette, I did not like her in this episode. She can barely go 10 seconds without simping over Cat Noir, or I guess in this case, Mr. Bug. At least Adrian had some control when he still liked Ladybug. Marinette has absolutely zero. Marinette alone kind of ruins this episode for me. I'm giving this episode a 6.5 out of 10. On to the next one. This episode starts with Marinette and Alia in the Louvre. Marinette wants to know if there has ever been a love story between a Ladybug and Cat Noir before, but Tiki said it would be best if Marinette asked the pass holder herself with her Kwagatama. Before she's able to do it though, she finds an envelope for Alex's dad, which is from Alex. Alex's dad invites all of Alex's classmates to show them the pictures that Alex sent him. Alex's brother then arrives and says that Ladybug has instead kidnapped Alex. The dad then tells him that Alex chose to leave to keep the Rabbit Miraculous safe, and that he spent too much time on Twitter. Or is it called X now? I'm still calling it Twitter. Alex's brother gets upset and then he gets akumatized. Marinette uses the Quagatama to speak to a past Ladybug older, which is Joan of Arc? What are you doing in Miraculous Ladybug? Marinette asks Joan about her love life, but she refuses to talk about it. Alex's brother, now known as Pharaoh, uses his powers to create a book that always tells the truth. It also gives the people it comes across questions. If they get it wrong, they get trapped in the book. Ladybug and Cat Noir meet up, and with the help of Bunnix and Joan, are able to reach Pharaoh. Ladybug then tells Pharaoh to ask the book if she really is the bad guy. The book says no, and Alex's brother rejects the Akuma. After all of that, Joan finally tells Marinette her love story with Cat Noir. Back then, they used to be enemies, but once they realized they were being manipulated by the monarchs of their past, they ran away to fall in love with each other. However, when they did this, they also gave up their miraculouses, and that was the end. The episode ends with Marinette wondering if she has to give up her miraculous to fall in love with Cat Noir, and Adrien getting his own Quagatama. This episode was pretty fine. I like how we see Alex's brother question why Alex would even leave. If I was in his position, I probably would too. I also like how we finally get to see the Quagatamas being used for something. Joan of Arc was also pretty fun to have around. It really doesn't make any sense, but she was probably one of my favorite parts of the episode. My only complaint for this episode is, of course, Marinette. Why didn't she use this opportunity to ask for advice on how to defeat Monarch instead of asking for love advice? That would have been so much more useful. Other than that, this episode kind of reminds me of the earlier episodes in the show. Maybe it's because of the Pharaoh being used again, since he was a season 1 villain. I'm giving this episode a 7 out of 10. On to the next one.
Cat Noir! Cat Noir! Cat Noir! Cat Noir! Cat Noir!
After Ladybug and Cat Noir defeat a villain, Ladybug insists that they should sit down and eat with each other, even though they're about to detransform. Cat Noir, however, thinks it's a test and runs off. This causes Ladybug to not only get upset, but to finally realize Cat Noir isn't in love with her anymore. While Marinette and Alia are arguing about this, Adrien visits the bakery and asks if he can hang out with Marinette. Marinette's parents call Marinette to ask, but she says no, which makes Adrien upset. After Adrien turns to Cat Noir to run away from some fans, he notices Marinette, and Marinette notices him. They get all flirty and stuff, and Cat Noir brings Marinette with her to find Andre the Ice Cream Man. Alia and Tiki go to check on Marinette, but when they can't find her, they get worried. Once Marinette and Cat Noir find Andre, he refuses to serve them ice cream because Cat Noir is supposed to be in love with Ladybug, and Marinette is supposed to be in love with Adrien, which is kind of messed up. This old man should not decide who these two teenagers fall in love with. Marinette and Cat Noir also don't agree with him, as they tell each other that their love was too much to bear. They start to get close to each other and then they kiss. For some reason, this feels very weird in my opinion. Cat Noir realizes this is wrong and that he's basically turning into one of those influencers who. I'm not going to finish that sentence. This causes Marinette to almost get akumatized. However, she is able to break out by Cat Noir kissing her. I hate this episode. Andre then gets akumatized again because it's a Meerkat episode. He kills a bunch of people. Alia says this.
Who are you to decide for others whom they're allowed to love or not? If Marinette wants to have ice cream with Cat Noir, that's her prerogative. And if you don't know what flavor to serve her, how about I'm free to make my own choices with a touch of my own beeswax, huh?
Alia, you are being such a hypocrite. You're the one who keeps telling Marinette to fall in love with Adrien. Blah blah, Lucky Charm, Cataclysm, bye bye, Miraculous, Pounded, they win, yippee. Adrien thinks Marinette won't fall in love with him again, but Plague says, don't worry, Adrien, I'm sure she will. Also, did you know that I like cheese? Marinette realizes she can't fall in love with Cat Noir either, and Tiki's like, don't worry, Marinette, there's always hope, or something like that, and the episode ends. This episode is just bad. Meerkat didn't feel the same thanks to the love square being flipped. The writers somehow find a way to make me dislike Alia more and more, when she used to be one of my favorite characters. I'm also getting sick and tired of the ice cream man. He's getting annoying. This episode gets a 2.5 out of 10. On to the next one. Okay, for these two episodes, I'm going to be combining both of them and giving them one whole rating. Let's get into it. The episode starts with Marinette in her room. Her mom goes to check on her and to tell her that she has to go to school. Marinette, however, doesn't want to. Marinette is, of course, very sad about what happened in the last episode. Adrien goes to her house to not only give her the homework, but to also check on her. While talking to a depressed Marinette, Adrien tells her that he loves her just the way she is. Marinette, however, responds by saying that she doesn't love him anymore. While all this is happening, everyone in the class is celebrating since they think Marinette and Adrian have finally fallen in love. But I forgot her name. I think her name was Zoe? But Zoe is very skeptical. Now, since both of them are really sad, Tiki and Plag realize that for them to be happy, they have to stop being Ladybug and Cat Noir. Natalie goes to check on Adrian and sees that he's really sad. Nino is calling him at the same time and asks if Adrian is okay, which Natalie responds by saying that he's just tired. Gabriel feels his son's negative emotions, and instead of comforting him, he gives Adrian the Alliance ring so when he akumatizes him, at least he would be able to give him powers. And to think I thought you were being a good father for the first time in your sad, miserable life. Tiki and Plag free Marinette and Adrian from their roles as Ladybug and Cat Noir, and they search for new holders. Literally, right after this happens, Adrian runs back to Marinette's house with a smile on his face, and Marinette puts back up pictures of Adrian all over her room. That was really fast. Marinette apparently loves Adrian again, as well, as she tries to say but struggles. Since Gabriel can no longer sense Adrian's negative emotion, he finds someone else to akumatize. Tiki gives her Miraculous to Alia, who becomes Scarabella, and Plag gives his Miraculous to Zoe, who becomes Kitty Noir. The two of them save the day. Part 1 ends with Gabriel learning that Alia and Zoe are the new holders since they kept their alliance rings on. Part 2 begins right after Part 1 with Alia and Zoe going back home after they save the day. Gabriel then does this. What the heck is happening? He then tells Natalie that he knows the identities of the new Ladybug and Cat Noir. He then gets ready to attack Alia and Zoe at their school. At school, the Resistance have a plan to stop akumatizations, which consists of evacuating students, cheering up akumatized victims, and spraying them with condiments. At the cafeteria, Chloe tries to make fun of Adrian and Marinette, but fails miserably and gets akumatized into Soul Destroyer. Alia and Zoe try to transform, but Monarch gets to them and hits them with venom. Now that Monarch has both of the Miraculouses, he tries to unify them, but Tiki uses Lucky Charm, which gets sent to Marinette, and Plag uses Cataclysm on his ring, destroying it, meaning that Monarch can't grant his wish unless he reverses all the damage with the Lucky Charm, which Marinette has. After Marinette realizes what's going on and finds Alia paralyzed, she faces Monarch head on in a disguise and presents him a fake Lucky Charm. He takes it and tries to repair all the damage, but he realizes it's fake. So he retaliates by throwing Marinette into a wall. Holy crap, she should be dead. The Resistance then comes to fight back. Adrian takes the Ladybug Miraculous and then gives it to a disguised Marinette. She transforms and repairs all the damage with the real Lucky Charm. She takes back Cat Noir's Miraculous, but also finally realizes what Monarch has done to the Miraculouses. Marinette and Adrian become Ladybug and Cat Noir again, and the episode ends. I'm going to try to get my thoughts through pretty quickly since this script is already long enough. I really don't like how quickly Marinette and Adrian got over everything when they were relieved of their roles. It felt unrealistic. I couldn't care less about Scarabella and Kitty Noir. I don't really like Alia anymore, and Kitty Noir's design really sucks. Though I can say that this episode didn't make me hate Zoe. She is still a Mary Sue for sure, but I'm trying to get over that. I also don't like how well the Resistance did against Monarch. These guys are teenagers with no powers. How did Monarch lose so badly against them? Although I can say Marinette was great in the second part. Even when she didn't have her powers, she stood up to Monarch, even though she should definitely be dead. Overall, I don't hate these two episodes, but I don't love them either. Combined, these episodes get a 5 out of 10. And that's it. Those are my thoughts on the first 11 episodes of MLB Season 5. This season is off to a pretty bad start. There are some episodes that just annoy me because of the characters' actions alone, but there are a couple episodes that I don't have much of a problem with. I would say this season is a mixed bag, but it's more like a mixed bag with a bit more bad stuff in it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to. Don't take my opinions too seriously. I don't hate the show. I'm just making fun of it because at the end of the day, it's just a kid's show. I hope you have a good day and always remember to stay safe, have fun, and watch cartoons. Bye!